Where can you find the true measure of things in the busy streets of modern life? Stoicism, a theory with roots in very old times, can help you find your way, for guiding us through the rough seas of life and toward virtue, strength, and mental peace. But this is very different from the shadow of degeneration casts a light on knowledge. This is a state where the erosion being good and honest makes you move away from the Stoic ideal. But what draws us into this shadow? Is it the promise of instant pleasure, of short-term success, or maybe the comfort of not knowing? Man isn't worried about real problems as much by his made-up worries about real ones. Epicus. Someone once said, "Think about this. How often do our fears get bigger How often does our thinking take us off track from our philosophical path? We get caught up in the trappings of vice and think they are happiness." Stoicism teaches us that what makes people lose their way is not that we face problems from the outside, but it's when we give up and give in to them that we fail. To maintain virtue in order to care for our community and grow. As we stand at the crossroads of life, the Stoics tell us to have understanding. If you want to take a road that not many people have taken, you should do so. The never-ending search for knowledge is a journey that pushes us to go beyond, to rise above our lower selves and our baser instincts. So if you are ready to start this important trip to free yourself from the chains of decay, and accept the Stoic search for a good life comment, your desire to learn more about the timeless lessons of Stoic studies. The Stoic knowledge treasures are waiting for you to find and master them. This is what makes you a self-centeredness and haughtiness degenerate. Number 1, ego and pride in the reflective journey of wisdom grows from the seeds of self-awareness and ethics in Stoicism. Being egotistical and cocky are huge obstacles that make it hard to find inner peace and living an honest life. These traits are alluring in the way they whisper of being too proud of ourselves, can keep us from being humble and caring, resulting in a life full of misunderstandings, arguments, and take the example of a successful business leader whose original words were, "Battlefield wins in business were marked by strategic brilliance and teamwork." But as the praise grew, so did a sense of strength hiding the humility that used to hold them up. Decisions about this change from team-centered leadership to a direction led by ego led to a string of moral mistakes and bad decisions. Mistakes, and the results were a broken team spirit and less respect. Why does this change happen among friends and a tarnished legacy? Stoicism through characters like Epicus gives light on this problem, putting the focus on how important humility is and the perils of ego. Epicus. Someone once said that a man can't learn what he already thinks he knows. This feeling is similar to the Stoic advice about how pride can blind you and how important it is to. With an open and humble mind, we can see the knowledge of others. Stupidly ignoring their experiences and efforts in it makes us believe that our perfectness and power in its loud claims. We lose touch with the subtle truths of what it means to be human and the group intelligence that keeps us going. Growth and knowing how many chances there are for more in-depth understanding, and Epictetus asks us, what cooperation have we missed because ego took the lead? When we question our automatic responses, we create a place where humility can grow and wisdom can take root. Through life's challenges, let's resolve to put ego on the back burner, and being humble and looking back at our actions through a view of arrogance can show new ways to understand and care about others. How might our reactions change? If we approached every situation with humility at the top of our minds, with the Stoic values of humility and empathy, we can find our way through life, marked by happiness, morality, honesty, and for this trip to be successful, we have to be careful not to let our egos get in the way. As Epictetus says, all you need are these certainties to accept our shared humanity, act for the general good right now, based on judgment in the present moment, and a thankful heart in the present moment for everything that if you want to live a peaceful, happy and successful life, let us help you. Instead of letting your ego guide you, choose the strength of humility. We want to know if you've made choices and dealt with people with Stoic wisdom. Recently had this issue? Please share your stories and thoughts in the having envy and anger toward other people. The second set of opinions is about envy and anger toward other people. Having anger toward other people is like having termites in your soul. They quietly eat away at you. Take a bite out of our character and our peace of mind. This sneaky pair can ruin it. Relationships stop us from growing as people and take us off the road of Stoicism. The Stoics told us to work on improving ourselves and growing traits like the good things about ourselves instead of comparing ourselves to others. Others look at Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, who was calm, as an example. Sage who, despite his great fame and power, famously warned. He wrote that you shouldn't let other people's successes make you jealous. Whenever you feel yourself becoming, if you're angry, spiteful, or jealous of someone else's luck, ask yourself, will their downfall bring me prosperity? This question is meant to make us think about how pointless it is. To such feelings do not mean that the success of a co-worker or friend makes you less valuable. Of course, not your path is unique, and their wins don't cast a shadow over yours. Now, remember a time when you were envious of someone or angry at them. How did achieving your goal change your mood, your work, or when you were close to that person? Did it not often make you feel like being unhappy and dissatisfied with yourself instead of any kind of... The Stoics say that we should get rid of envy and anger and replace them with emulating and admiring someone else's success should push you to do the same. Follow your excellence. Not because you want to beat them, but because you want to meet your possible sex life. Another stern sage gives you this advice. You shouldn't be jealous of someone like that. Instead, you should strive to be like them. Be as good as possible and encourage thanks for what we have, instead of focusing on the things that other people have, can set us free from anger and envy. Think about your accomplishments, your strengths, and even your challenges because they made you who you are. I want you to think about yourself. Do you let other people's success fill your heart with envy, or are you using that energy to help you on your way to virtue and happiness? Let's pick happiness for now. Epictetus said it best. Envy is the enemy of the fortunate. Remember that luck doesn't come from outside praise, but from being at peace and happy inside. And the never-ending search for personal excellence, let us not aim for not to be better than other people, but to find peace within ourselves. By doing this, we pave follow the steps below to live a peaceful, happy, and successful life. 3 short-term thoughts. Have you ever picked the allure? Think too short-term of short-term pleasure over the promise of long-term happiness. This is the main question at the heart of short-term stern, is thinking in a way that the Stoic theory says you shouldn't. It shows a lack of prudence, which is a trait that people really value. Stoics, people who believe in living a life based on reason and planning, tell the story of a young man athlete with a lot of talent and promise, who was swayed by the thrill of the moment, partying late at night. He forgets to train for the fun and excitement of these moments don't last long, and soon his ability starts to drop, and sadness takes their place. This simple story captures the spirit of short-term thought and its problems. Marcus Aurelius was a great example of a Stoic. As wise people say, think of the life you've lived up to now as over and as a dead man. Enjoy what's left and live your life in line with nature. Love you should take the hand that fate gives you and play it as if it were your own. His words tell us to look past the present moment, to see our lives as a whole, and to make decisions. How often have we given up on things that honor our deepest ideals and our long-term health? putting our health, relationships, or personal growth on the line for a short-lived. Have you ever found yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media for fun or because it's convenient? Wasting valuable time or picking cheap foods over healthy ones? Stoics teach us that we shouldn't skip meals just to save time. Being prudent means not only avoiding harm, but also actively seeking the good that it's meant to do. About making choices that will make us happy and successful in the long run. Instead of giving in to the mood of the moment, Epictetus gives a guiding light. By saying that great things don't just happen, he begs us to be patient with our work over time and not expect results right away. This knowledge isn't just theoretical, it can also be used in everyday life. Long-term thinking is good for your finances, relationships, health, and job. It's clear that smart saving and spending will lead to financial security. Having deep, meaningful ties makes our lives better and helps us stay healthy. Our way of life guarantees vigor and vitality, and our dedication to our work opens the way for success and happiness. So I ask you, dear reader, to take a moment and think about where in your life you give in to short-term temptations. At the cost of your health in the long run, how can you use the selfless virtue of wisdom to make decisions that will be good for your future self? Let's try to see further, the here and now, and set the stage for a peaceful, happy life. In the wise words of Seneca, it's not that we don't have time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. What does this Seneca quote mean to you? Your reflections are important, so please share your own unique point of view in the section below number 4 for feedback. Lack of personal. Not taking responsibility for oneself. Why is it so much easier to blame others for our problems than to take responsibility for our own, a part in them? This question gets to the heart of the lack of personal. Stoicism says that being responsible is a big problem that makes it hard to. Stoicism isn't just a way of life, it's also a way of life for personal growth and honesty. Trouble. It's a call to face ourselves and take responsibility for what we've done. One example is the business owner who says the market is to blame for his mistakes and unwillingness to change led to his business failures. Or think about the student who says her bad scores are because her teachers aren't fair. These situations show an unwillingness rather than a lack of study on her part. To take personal responsibility is to deny it, which keeps personal development and stops moral growth. Marcus Aurelius in his meditation tells you to love the people around you and accept the things that happen to you. Whoever brings you together, do it with all your heart. This gammon isn't a romance. Resigning ourselves to fate. It's a call to fully connect with our it, forces us to look at our situations, including the results of the decisions we make. Within and think about what we've done to get where we are now, not as a way of self. Have you ever caught yourself being critical as a way to gain power and make a change? Blamed other people when things went wrong? How did that affect your ability to deal with the problem or learn from it? Stoicism tells us that being accountable doesn't mean carrying around guilt, but rather taking on the power. To change our lives, Epictetus said, we are not disturbed, not by what happens to us, but by what we think about what happens to us. This difference is very important. The outside events, but our refusal to take responsibility for how we reacted to them, that this theory goes beyond personal growth and often leads to chaos. Morals in a world that is quick to blame and slow to change. Accepting Stoic accountability as a task could be transformative. Picture a world where people own their own acts, in which leaders own up to their mistakes and learn from them, and in which, when groups work together to face their problems head-on, everyone takes responsibility for their actions, is a step toward living a full life full of happiness and peace of mind. The great Seneca said it so well. Success is a rough road that leads to the high points of greatness. Let's take charge of our journey, taking each step with the knowledge that it shapes our way to greatness. Number 5. Not putting virtue first in the busy avenues of careless use of virtue. In your life, where does virtue rank on your list of priorities? Rich history and deep thoughts show that virtue is not just a choice as the core of a worthwhile life, while ignoring or undervaluing virtues like St. Thomas Aquinas says that Stoicism is like going off in the wrong direction. If you want to live a life with meaning and honesty, look at the business leader, whose unwavering drive to make money comes at the expense of being fair and honest, or the leader who gives up their values for power. These aren't just slip-ups in judgment, but are a sign of a greater lack of virtue. They show how the giving up on Stoic ideals can cause not only physical decline, but also to society as a whole. Marcus Aurelius was a great example of a Stoic. Those who preach morality should stop arguing about what a good man should be and do something about it. Be one. His words ring through time, telling us to live up to the good qualities we often talk about. From afar, think about how often we miss chances to do the right thing, to show wisdom or courage by choosing the easier path instead of the harder. One Stoicism teaches that virtue is not a thought, but a way to live your life. To live a healthy life, we need to make decisions that are in line with our best values. When faced with trouble, Epictetus, another famous calm figure, said, "It's not what happens to you that counts, but how you handle it." This view gives us power to make virtue a way of life that changes everything you do and every turning what we do into a reflection of who we are. This isn't just an intellectual thought, but a clarion call to action in a world where bad things often look like good things, and when the desire for material gain takes precedence over moral behavior. The Stoic devotion to virtue is a beacon of hope and a way to reach real happiness. I urge you to think about where you might be ignoring virtue in order to find satisfaction. In what ways can you grow knowledge, courage, justice, and moderation in your life? Using Stoic values in your daily life is the cure for degeneration. It's a path to becoming the best versions of ourselves, making the world a place where honesty, not convenience, leads our collective fate, as Seneca so eloquently put it, not by getting on the stage. The only way to stand tall is to be moral in your choices and deeds. So let's try to bring back virtue in our lives so that we can not only achieve success, but also successes that matter and are morally right, because the key to a peaceful, happy, and successful life lies in the realm of ethics. Life number 6. Bad things and being negative and complaining, whining in a world that seems to be ruled by chaos and unhappy. How can we handle life's storms with grace and strength? Stoicism, an old philosophy that encourages a positive attitude, gives a strong answer. Taking on life's problems without giving in to negativity or this way of thinking not only gives us strength, but it also makes our path better. Turn problems into chances to learn and grow. Think about this for a moment. The strength shown by people who, when faced with problems, choose not to dwell on what they can't change, but instead focus on what they can do. Imagine a professional who runs into an unexpected problem in their job. She doesn't feel bad about this loss. Instead, she sees it as a chance to try something new. Ways that might be more in line with her core ideals and aspirations. This method is similar to the Stoic view that we have the freedom to choose how to deal with life's problems, thereby finding Marcus Aurelius was a symbol of power and wisdom in the face of trouble. It was written that you have control over your thoughts, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find power. But how often do we forget this? Natural power, letting outside factors take away our inner peace and happiness. We should think about how falling into a habit has affected them. Of bad things that happened in our lives and the lives of those around us, Stoicism gives us a big change in thinking that suggests the habit of complaining not only drains our energy but also makes us less able to handle tough situations. The ups and downs of life. E.P. Picus. A Stoic philosopher summed up this feeling when he said, "It's not what happens to you that counts, but how you handle it." This wise saying tells us AG's complaint should be replaced with thanks, and life should be looked at with hope. Taking on a reserved attitude can greatly change how we feel about the world. It makes us value what we have and see problems as opportunities. For personal growth and to live life in a proactive and good way, having the right mood means recognizing and controlling our emotions, knowing that we have the power to make choices, and seeing problems as opportunities as a source of motivation for personal growth and success. As we think about the of whining and being negative in our lives, let's think about whether they are obstacles that stand in the way of our happiness and success on the path to a serene. The path to a happy and successful life is paved with acceptance, hope, and action. Let's not be put down by not taking part in our own lives. And whining, let's use the problems we face in life to achieve, build our strength, grow our values, and live a happy life. Remembering what Seneca said, "A gem cannot be cleaned without friction, nor a man perfected without difficulties," please leave a comment below with this advice. Leave a comment below to push yourself to finish number 7. Lack of not having a community or empathy. Community and caring. People are naturally social. Stoic scholar Seneca, who stressed that what makes us human is this deep connection to the community and the ties we make in it. Understanding how a lack of community works starts with having insight. And understanding makes us less close to other people and farther away from a Stoicism encourages people to live a happy and good life. Take the story of a small town that is in danger of being shut down. Its only school, a community hub in the middle of chaos. A group of people who live there are motivated by the Stoic idea of working for the good of all team up to save the school. Their work is based on compassion, and a deep understanding of getting a sense of their shared fate changes not only the school's future, but also their lives. Community brings them closer by giving them a common goal, and collective. Marcus Aurelius, who was another pillar of Stoicism, once thought about what hurts the hive hurts the bee. How often do we think about what we do? Do we see that through the lens of how they've affected our community? Not caring about the people around us and not interacting with them hurts society and slows down. For our own moral and mental growth, Stoicism urges us to caring about more than just our own lives, and understanding how important it is to build strong, caring relationships with others in our neighborhoods. It teaches us that lack of concern for other people's well-being is a departure from the road of virtue. That means a life of being alone and not having the deep pleasure that contributes to the greater good. Think about it for a moment. When was the last time you helped someone in need or did something to make your town better? Are we building bridges of understanding and kindness, or are we building walls of indifference? The search for a peaceful, happy, and successful life is not a single one, as an individual goal, but as a group journey that calls us to develop a sense of, to show empathy and care about the well-being of our neighborhoods. We must do the following. Stick to the Stoic values of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation, but also contribute to a world where the well-being of all is the foundation of everyone's own. In order to find happiness, let us accept our role as social people, as Seneca urged to live, not only for ourselves, but also for the good of everyone. In this work, we not only find the heart of Stoicism, but also the plan for a truly good life. There is meaning and joy in our search for what leads to conclusion. We've been through the realms of lack of self-control and ignoring of giving up on virtue out of fear of not taking responsibility for oneself, and the collapse of community, kindness, and other things like that. Each of these things not only takes us away from Stoic standards, but also weakens the very basis of a happy life. As Marcus Aurelius said, that the best way to get back at someone is to be unlike them. Did the harm, let this be our guiding star by avoiding the ways that lead to decline and instead focusing on ways that promote virtue. We plan our way to a peaceful life by building community and strength. We separate ourselves from habits that bring us happiness and other people while also being kind. Humiliate us for deciding to go on a journey of constant self-improvement and staying strong with knowledge. We know that everyone's path is unique, so we'd like to know how this conversation has changed yours. Vogue, we want you to share your stories in the video's comments part below, whether it's a problem or an opportunity. You've made it through a helpful insight you got, or a positive change you started in your story can bring light and inspiration into my life. Finally, if you are not yet as a member of our group, click subscribe and turn on the bell, so make sure you don't miss any of the useful videos we'll be posting in the future.